Okay, let's think about water for a second. What if that simple glass of water you drink every day? What if it's doing more than just hydrating you?
For better or potentially for worse.
Did you know your regular tap water, even after treatment, could still have a whole bunch of different things in it?
Mm?
What if there was a way to not just filter out the bad stuff, but maybe even add some good things back in?
And that's pretty much what we're diving into today. These are the big questions.
Welcome, everyone, to The Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting up to speed on interesting topics. And today, we're looking at advanced water filtration.
We're drawing specifically from AlkaWay. They focus on alkaline and hydrogen water filters and really zeroing in on their UltraStream product.
So if you're curious about improving your water quality, but maybe you feel a bit overwhelmed by all the technical jargon or the marketing claims,
You're in the right spot. We're aiming to cut through that, synthesize the info, and just focus on what these systems actually claim to do.
we've looked at the main AlkaWay website that gives the big picture, and also the specific page for the UltraStream filter, which has more of the technical details and the listed benefits.
Right. And our goal here is really to bring those together, to understand how these filters aim to go beyond just basic cleaning. We're talking about things like alkalization, adding hydrogen, and serious contaminant removal.
So by the end of this, you should have a much clearer picture of whether something like the UltraStream might align with, your health goals or just your lifestyle.
Okay, let's get into it.
Let's unpack the UltraStream itself. What's the core idea?
Well, it's presented as a pretty sophisticated filter, designed for safe drinking water, obviously, but also good tasting water.
And they mentioned a user base.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
Over 10,000 users, apparently.
That's quite a few people. It suggests, some level of market acceptance.
Mhm.
And it's not just a standard filter, right? That's the key distinction they make.
AlkaWay really emphasizes that it's been tested independently. University labs, they say, testing it throughout the filter's life.
Okay.
And these tests apparently show it removes, and this is their phrase, a huge range of modern contaminants, things found in our water supplies today.
Huge range. Can we get more specific? What kind of contaminants are we talking about?
We can. The info does list specifics, things like chlorine, chloramines, those are common disinfectants used in city water.
Right. You can often taste or smell them.
Exactly. It also targets VOCs, volatile organic compounds, and then there's fluoride. They give a specific figure, 78% reduction from the filter itself.
78%. Okay.
And they mention it could be up to 95% removal if you use a specific pre-filter with it.
Interesting. So it depends partly on setup.
Heavy metals are on the list. Lead, mercury, copper, the usual suspects there. But also, importantly, those things we hear more about now, PFAs and PFOAs. The so-called forever chemicals.
Right. Those are a big concern.
Definitely. Also arsenic, various pesticides. And beyond that specific list, they just make this broader claim of removing hundreds of other contaminants.
Hundreds. Wow. It's kind of hard to picture that many things potentially being in there.
Yeah.
Now, they also talk about virus guardian technology. What's that about?
Yeah, this part is interesting. It's not just about filtering through tiny holes. It uses something called electroadhesion and ion exchange.
Okay.
Basically, it uses a fine mesh, glass fibers coated with a charged mineral. Think of it charged sticky net that grabs onto things like viruses and bacteria as the water passes through.
So it attracts them electrically.
That's the idea. And they claim this gets up to 99.99% removal for viruses and bacteria and 99.95% for cysts without just relying on pore size, which could slow down water flow or strip out good minerals.
That does sound like a smart approach. But there was a caveat, wasn't there? A recommendation.
Yes, good point. For water that isn't chlorinated, like maybe some well water or water that's known to be highly contaminated, they do recommend using a pre-filter or even a UV system alongside it.
So an extra step might be needed depending on your source water. Crucial detail.
Very crucial. It ensures the system works as effectively as possible, especially against pathogens.
Right. So contaminant removal is obviously a huge focus. But the name also says alkaline. What's the story there? What are the benefits?
So the UltraStream is designed to add natural alkaline minerals back into the water as it filters, specifically magnesium and calcium.
Adding minerals back in.
Exactly. And this process is meant to consistently raise the water's pH level into the range of 8.0 to 9.5.
8 to 9.5. And why aim for that higher pH? What's the suggested benefit?
AlkaWay suggests it helps counteract what many see as a generally acidic modern diet and lifestyle. The idea is to bring more balance.
Ah, the acid-alkaline balance idea.
Right. Plus, they claim the filter materials also soften and stabilize the water, which they believe leads to better taste and maybe even better hydration.
Better taste is always good. And improved hydration, definitely appealing. Now, the other keyword, hydrogen. How does it make hydrogen-rich water?
This is another key feature they highlight. The UltraStream infuses molecular hydrogen, that's H2, into the water. And importantly, it does this without using electricity.
No electricity needed.
It is a major distinction. And what are the potential upsides of having this molecular hydrogen in your water?
Yeah, what's the claim there?
Well, AlkaWay points to a pretty large body of scientific work. They mention over 300 published studies, maybe 1,000 scientific articles looking into the health effects of H2.
Okay, what kind of effects?
The research apparently suggests molecular hydrogen might influence things like inflammation, maybe allergies, even cell signaling, and it acts as an antioxidant, neutralizing free radicals.
So potentially quite a range of benefits.
Potentially, yes. But it's fair to say, and important to note, that while the research is growing, the scientific community is still, working to fully pin down how consistent and significant these benefits are for everyone.
Right. Ongoing research, as with many health topics. Now, they also call the UltraStream a natural water ionizer. How does that work if it's not electric?
Okay, so this ties into something called ORP, oxidation reduction potential. It's basically a measure of whether water acts like an antioxidant, negative ORP, or an oxidant, positive ORP.
Negative is good in this context.
It's generally considered beneficial, yes.
Yeah.
The UltraStream uses a special media they call Adobe media.
Oh, Adobe.
Yeah, Adobe. It's not really defined further, but this media is apparently key to delivering a consistently high negative ORP, and it also helps with the hydrogen infusion. They suggest this combination might lead to increased energy levels.
So the Adobe media is doing double duty, the antioxidant effect, negative ORP, and the hydrogen.
Interesting. And what about energized water? That term pops up too. Right. This seems to involve 3 other elements they include in the filter. First, tourmaline. It supposedly emits far infrared energy and helps soften the water.
Tourmaline. Right.
Second, a neodymium magnet. The claim there is that it helps stabilize the water after it's gone through the filtering and alkalizing process.
Stabilize it how?
The source doesn't elaborate much beyond stabilization. And third, natural quartz crystal. This is mainly included, they say, to enhance the taste, giving it a fresher quality.
Okay, so tourmaline, magnet, quartz. Now let's get practical. Someone's thinking about this. What are the actual product options, the models?
They offer 3 main styles. First is the benchtop model. Super easy setup, just attaches to your existing kitchen tap. They highlight it's good for renters. That one is listed at $689, including GST.
Simple attachment, sounds convenient. What else?
Then there's an undersink model. This one saves counter space, obviously. It comes with its own separate, dedicated drinking water tap, apparently. This one's $889, including GST. And the third option is a twin undersink model. This one's designed if you already have or want to install a 3-way mixer tap, or if you have an existing filter tap hole. Also space-saving and priced at $729, including GST.
Got it. Options for different setups. How easy is the installation, generally? Can you DIY it?
Well, the benchtop, as we said, is designed to be really simple, just screwed onto the tap. The undersink ones, they're a bit more involved because you're installing that separate faucet.
Right. Requires getting under the sink, connecting lines.
Yes. But AlkaWay provides installation videos to help guide you. There is one really critical point for the undersink models, though.
Oh.
They state very clearly that you must install it with a vented faucet. If you don't use a vented faucet, you could avoid the warranty.
Vented faucet. That's a key technical detail to remember for the undersink installs. Good to know.
Absolutely essential.
All right. What about ongoing costs? Filters don't last forever. How long does a cartridge last, and what's the replacement situation?
The stated life is 3,000 liters of water, or about 12 months for what they estimate as a typical family. Obviously, your mileage may vary depending on water usage and quality.
Makes sense.
And cost-wise.
Looking at the cost per liter, using the benchtop model as an example, the first filter comes with it, so in year 1, the cost works out to roughly 23 cents per liter.
Okay.
But when you replace that filter, the cost for subsequent years drops significantly, down to about 9 cents per liter based on the replacement filter cost.
9 cents a liter, that's quite a drop. How does that stack up against, say, buying bottled water?
They provide a comparison. They estimate standard bottled water at around 72 cents a liter, and premium alkaline bottled water can be way high, like $1.93.
So yeah, even in the first year, the UltraStream looks cheaper per liter. And after that, the savings seem pretty substantial compared to bottled.
What about the environmental angle? Less plastic?
That's a big point they make. They estimate one UltraStream filter cartridge can replace, thousands of single-use plastic bottles over its year-long lifespan.
That's significant.
Huge reduction in plastic waste. Plus, you avoid the whole environmental footprint of manufacturing and transporting all those bottles.
Yeah, that's a very compelling argument these days, with all the focus on plastic pollution. Let's touch on a few tech specs quickly. Anything key stand out?
We mentioned the filter life 3,000 liters or 12 months. Minimum water pressure needed is low, just 5 psi. Ideal incoming water pH is around neutral, 6.8 to 7.2. Temperature range is pretty standard, 2 to 40 degrees Celsius.
And the output specs?
Output pH, as we said, up to 9.5. The ORP, that antioxidant measure, can go down to nanoc at 500 millivolts, which is quite strongly negative, and the hydrogen infusion up to 0.8 parts per million.
Okay, so those are the target numbers. Now, we mentioned the electric ionizers earlier. How else does the UltraStream compare? Any other advantages they claim?
A couple of things. Because it relies on the filter media, not electrolysis, they say it works fine even if you have a water softener system installed at home. Apparently, that can sometimes be an issue for electric ionizers.
Compatibility with softeners.
And the other angle they push is that because the technology is essentially in the replaceable cartridge, every time you change the filter, you're potentially getting the benefit of any new advancements they've made in the filter media.
Like a built-in upgrade path with each filter change. Interesting idea.
Keeps the system current.
Now, AlkaWay isn't just the UltraStream, right? They have other related products.
Yes, quite a range on their site. Obviously, the replacement filters themselves, they sell pH test kits so you can check your water. There's something called AlkaBalance electrolytes, like a mineral supplement powder.
Yeah.
They also offer whole house filtration systems if you want to treat all the water coming into your home. And Sprite shower filters, those are specifically for reducing chlorine in your shower water.
That's right. Makes sense.
And apparently a newer product is a hydrogen bath and inhaler device. So branching out a bit there too.
Okay. Quite a comprehensive focus on water, pH, and hydrogen then. All right. We've covered a lot of ground on the UltraStream and AlkaWay. If we were to boil it down, what are the main takeaways for someone listening?
I think, firstly, the UltraStream presents itself as more than just a basic filter. It's aiming for enhanced filtration across a lot of contaminants, plus adding alkalinity with minerals and infusing hydrogen, all linked to potential health benefits, though research is ongoing for some aspects.
Right.
Secondly, the cost. Compared to bottled water, especially alkaline bottled water, it does seem to offer significant savings over time, particularly after the initial purchase. And tied to that is the environmental benefit of big reduction in plastic bottle waste.
Cost and environment.
AlkaWay offers this whole ecosystem of related products, from testing kits to shower filters to whole house systems. It suggests a wider commitment to water quality and maybe wellness. So hopefully this dive gives you a solid, quick understanding of what systems like this are all about.
Absolutely. And if this has piqued your interest and you want to explore further, the AlkaWay website is the place to go. They also have a free call number, 1-800-268-469, and social media presences.
The site has detailed product info, those lab reports they mentioned, customer reviews, a knowledge base, lots to dig into if you want more specifics.
It's probably worth taking a moment to think about your own water situation. What are your concerns? What are your health goals? And see how or if this kind of approach fits.
With all this increasing awareness about what might be in our water and this growing interest in potentially enhancing water for health, how might being more proactive about your daily hydration actually impact your long-term health, your energy, your overall vitality?
It's a good question. Definitely something worth mulling over.